What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Success After Trauma, where we talk to people that have had trauma in their life and decided to do something with it. Because if we're honest with ourselves, all of us have experienced trauma at some level or another, and all of it's relative. And it really boils down to, what are we deciding to do about it? How are we being at cause in our life? And what are the choices that we're making? So we bring on guests and they share their story, because no matter where you're at right now, someone is one chapter behind you and they need the information that you have. And so I'm bringing on a special guest today. Hosnick Martinez is a friend of mine, a veteran, a Marine, has a very, very powerful story to tell. And I know that one of you listening today are going to be impacted by this story. Hosnick, you're gonna change someone's life today. You may or may not ever meet that person, but you're gonna change someone's life today. A little bit about Hosnick. So Hosnick, again, personal friend of mine. There's two big key bonding points here. One, both Marines. Two, both from New Jersey. What's up? Are
Yeah,
you're originally from New Jersey? Is that right, Hos?
that's right. I was born in Patterson, New Jersey. It's a little northeast New Jersey. So yes, I am originally from Jersey.
And I know you recently moved to Florida, but did you live in New Jersey your whole life outside of that?
No, when I was 16, I believe I moved to upstate New York and completed my sophomore, junior, and senior year in upstate New York, and then I joined the Marine Corps, and then I went back to New Jersey after I got out the Marine Corps.
Where were you stationed? Out of curiosity.
New. So I was in California, and then I did most of my time in Okinawa, Japan. I
Okay.
was part of a MU there, and my last duty station was in North Carolina, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, over there in Jackstown.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been to Lejeune and I've been in California I did 29 Palms. Were you 29 Palms or were you 29
Y-
Palms?
yes, I was 29 Palms. I
No
was
way.
calm
Okay.
school, and
So I did 29 Palms. I did which 29 Palms for anyone that for Marines they already know what we're talking about.
yeah, yeah.
But for those of you that are not Marines, that's like it's the Mojave Desert. It is where they send everyone to, or sent everyone to, as far as I knew. If, who knows what's evolved since then. But anyone that would deploy to Afghanistan or Iraq, they would come to 29 Palms to do their conditioning training for the hot weather and for the desert. It's very it mimics that atmosphere a lot. Okinawa, I did not get to spend any time at. I heard all kinds of stories. I wish I spent some time over there. How did you enjoy your time over there?
Yes, yes. I really enjoy the culture actually, and of the Japanese people. I mean, they were hospitable, very polite, and it was a beautiful island. I mean, I was able to do like scuba diving or snorkeling, not scuba diving, but I was, open to a lot of different opportunities since it's an island, but
Yeah.
their traditions and their culture of the Japanese people. It's something I admire. I really enjoyed my time there.
That's incredible. I heard so many great stories. I was like, man, I wish I'd snuck over there. What about I gotta ask, so first and foremost, do you eat sushi? Do you like sushi?
I like sushi. Yes.
Okay. I love sushi. Did they have it? Is it more abundant over there? Or am I just go ahead.
Yes, it's more abundant over there. So their food is definitely different from the United States. They're more focused on health base, a lot of plant-based fish, sushi, and a little better clean eating. Yes, you have your restaurants like McDonald's and stuff like that, but that's mainly for like the tourists. If you go to the McDonald's, you basically see tourists and Marines and military
Okay.
personnel. But their sushi was delicious because it was fresh fish that they caught prior that morning.
Right, right. I
Yeah,
can only imagine.
yeah.
That's incredible. Okay, so now, today, so Hosnick today, he really studies in and shares information around financial literacy, the stock market, trading. Every day, this guy is in studying and just really looking at trends and then sharing information and data. And Hosnick and his wife own a photography company as well, but it hasn't always been like this. I want to talk about some of the traumas that you've been through. Can you share first? Talk to us a little bit about you did. Did you deploy to Iraq or Afghanistan or both?
Both,
Okay.
both, yes.
And when did you what are you willing to share with us around your experience through combat? And more so what I'm looking at is, have you ever read the book? There's a book, Lieutenant Colonel Grossman, it's called On Killing. Have you read that book yet?
I have not.
Okay. It's worth a read sometime. He talks about the psychological cost of war for humans. It's very abnormal. Most species across the globe, it's fairly abnormal for interspecies killing. Obviously, there is a few species where this is okay. The praying mantis, the black widow. There's just a couple, but most species this is not normal. And it talks about the psychological cost. Can you share with us a little bit about the psychological tab that was due for you? What was those? What were some of the struggles that you faced? What were some of the what was your mindset like after? Let's think about. Let me ask you this real quick. I hit you with like 50 questions there. When was your last deployment in comparison to when you got out? How long was that gap?
Okay, my last deployment was 2005, and I got out in 2008.
Okay. So during that time, and that's semi similar to myself. I think I forget if it was '06 or '07 was my last. I got out in 2011, so right there.
Mhm.
How was that? How was that time for you? I know for myself that was I mean, it was a major struggle. In between, even while I was still in the military, and it got even worse when I got out. Were you struggling after your last deployment while you're in, or what did that go like for you?
Um, it's I don't know if I was going through an identity crisis. And I say that to say this. My last deployment was in Iraq, and I believe I was 18, very young. And I remember when I first got into country, immediately, my unit lost 31 people, and that's because of helo.
Ooh.
A helo, the transition. People were leaving, and we were coming in, and the helo fell, and all 31 of them died. And I remember, we did the whole ceremony, and it was a surreal moment. I was like, oh man, and I call it the Twilight Zone because I remember my mind having trouble adjusting. It almost felt fake, like a video game. Um, it was funny. We'll make jokes about death and
Hmm.
seeing dead bodies and stuff like that, and we would be okay with it. And it was kind of weird. Um, but I remember. So what ended up happening, and I think this is where a lot of my nightmares stem from and stuff like that. But we were ordered. It was the Battle of Fallujah, right? And there was a lot of the dogs that were eating or feasting on the corpse and stuff, that were left in
Hmm.
the street.
Hmm.
And there was a concern of disease, and there was a concern about that. So we got an order to see if we can go out and pick up the dead bodies, and we had to transport them to a bread factory. And I was taxed out of that. I was a radio operator, and I got tasked with 3rd Medical Battalion, and we went out, and our job was to pick up the dead bodies on the street, or try to prevent. I don't know what the goal was, honestly. Um, and it was difficult because we were able to do it. I was able to do the job, but I couldn't. It was a weird. It's like a Twilight Zone feeling of, like, all that stuff that happened didn't sink in. It wasn't sinking in. It to me, it was like normal. We picked up, we put it. I remember seeing this guy where we called him the Pancake Man, and we tried to pick him up, and we were laughing about it. I mean, I think if we've had phones, we would have taken pictures at the time,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
and whatever. It was a very crazy disconnect, right?
Hmm.
Um, when I came out the military, um, I had uh, I had trouble connecting, and I didn't really know why. It's almost like I had um, a shift in perception of who I was.
Hmm.
People weren't seeing me as me, and I was struggling to see who I was as well. And I remember people saying things one of my friends were like, "Oh, Hosnick, you don't smile as much." And I was just like, "What do you mean?" And I can see my mom was kind of afraid of me. "Oh, don't do that to Hosnick because you don't know how he's gonna react."
Mm.
So a lot of those situations, there was a lot of disconnect with my family, and I struggled to find myself. And it felt like I was running, and I was running fast. And nobody can really understand, you know, what was going on with me. And I was angry. I was like,
Mm.
I was
Mhm.
mad because I didn't have my brothers anymore. The only people that I can connect with, my family. And I'm here out of the Marine Corps now, and I have to try to connect with people that I haven't seen, like my family, who think I'm the old Hosnick. And I was responding like I was responding with such veracity and fierce, especially when I drank. I would
Yeah.
say hurtful things, and I would just be angry, and I don't and I really didn't know why. I really didn't know.
Mhm.
I thought something was wrong with me. So I used to be like, well, I'm not crazy. And I actually ask it, am I crazy? Like, I'm not crazy. Why do I keep hurting people and stuff? And I got involved with alcohol heavily, and drugs. And what happened was that what I found was that when I was under the influence, it allowed me to have a human connection, something
Mhm.
that I couldn't have without the substance. Without the substance or alcohol, I wasn't able to connect with people. I just kept messing it up. I kept saying the wrong things, and people just look at me like I had two heads. But when I drank, at least for those few minutes, I was able to have that human connection and be like, "Hey, what's up, man? I love you," and actually have a conversation without being weird or spaced out or feeling, that feeling of unworthiness creeping up, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So that snowball effect became so dangerous because now the substance became part of my personality. I
Mhm.
needed to survive.
Yeah.
And I burned a lot of my bridges. I wrote a song saying balance this. I was angry also that I couldn't even kill myself, right? Suicide was a everyday thing, but I would say to myself, how can I do that? I can't believe I can't do it because I have kids, like stuff
Yeah.
like, but I wanted an out, and I was angry that I didn't have the out. So I had this weird concept in my head that I needed to balance the scales.
Yeah.
I needed to balance the scales. I needed to do enough good in this world, and I needed to do things for other people as much as I could. And then I can leave, and then I can go. I have to balance the scales because I felt that I was such a horrible person, that I didn't deserve anything good. I felt that I wasn't worthy of love, and I walked around with the shame and guilt. And it almost destroyed me. Actually, I really didn't don't know how well, I do know how I made it out, but at those times it was the worst place I can ever be. And I know people right now, if anybody right now is feeling like that, just to insert this, is you are
Please.
worth it, you are worthy, and there's light in you. And you might not see it now, but there's love there, and people love you, and you can love yourself. And I say that you can love yourself because I spent a lot of time hating myself, right?
Man.
And I used to be a police officer, and I lost my job because I had a struggle when it came to people of the Middle Eastern descent, you know
Yeah. Yeah.
and it wasn't a race thing, it was a fight or flight thing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
where
It's a neurological response.
my physical reaction. And I was a police officer for 6 years, and I did very well with that, because what we do best is serve. What we do best as a Marine is we're able to do any job that requires us to sacrifice our lives,
Mhm.
and we do that well.
That's right. That's right.
And then it came to the point where I couldn't hold the capacity of a law enforcement officer because I couldn't trust myself, because I was having a physical response.
Wow.
And it would be like, oh, sweaty hands, doubting, real quick to really, like, I was ready, ready, locked in, ready to go, and it was unnecessary. It was just maybe some Middle Eastern guy just wanted to ask me a question, but I was on the alert, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, And that journey itself right there, losing that job really, really, really impacted me because I kept losing things. I kept losing my identity. I'm not a Marine anymore. I've messed up the husband thing. I'm messing up the
Mm,
father thing.
mm.
I'm having alcohol problems. I don't love myself. I can't connect with humans. Excuse my language, I'm drowning. I'm drowning. And that's exactly how it felt, you know? And I remember when I had to leave my job and the impact that did. I was, swirling the toilet bowl. My
Mhm,
worth.
mhm.
I didn't know at that point who I was.
And so so at that time, it sounds like, I want, correct me anywhere, but it sounds like you couldn't even see the light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, like the weight was just overbearing at that time. Is that?
It's not that I couldn't even see the light, but I felt I didn't deserve the light.
Wow.
My
Okay.
mind wasn't looking for the light, and I kept doing self-destruction to myself because I didn't deserve to have good in my life. And that's how I took it. I felt like I was being punished. And I was willing to accept the punishment because I thought that I needed to be punished.
So what was, where did we have where did like the initial shifts start to take place? And then tell us a little bit about the journey that you went through that is Hosnick today.
Okay. Yeah. So the shift, um, shortly after I went to a salt convention in Orlando, Florida, and I was there with my mother. And my mother shows me this flyer about some retreat center in Costa Rica. And I look at the flyer and she's like, "Oh, look at this place about plant medicine or ayahuasca." I'm like, what is that? I don't even know what that is. But some reason, when I looked at that flyer, I automatically said, "Oh, I'm gonna go there." Right. And it was just a weird thing. And my mother tells me that. She's like, the first time that you brought ayahuasca, you were like, "Oh, you're gonna go there." you know I looked at the price first. It's like $5,000 for the week,
Yeah.
so I was just like, oh, I don't know if I'm really gonna go there now.
Yeah.
So what happened was, a month later, this was like September. A month later, I find myself in Tennessee writing. This is where I met you, writing the country song,
Yeah.
right? And through that experience, that was an intense experience, but it really showed my state of mind. That song reminds me of where my state of mind was, because I can still connect with my experience, but balance the scales. Wow, it just shows where my heart was. Well, I got really well before I recorded the song. My mom sends me an email and says, "Hey, by the way, Rhythmia, or the retreat center, has a scholarship. They're starting to do a scholarship. Why, you should apply." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm like, sure, I'll apply." I didn't pay no mind to it. Well, while I was in Tennessee, I drank too much. Like I always do. The cycle always repeats itself. And I was really, really depressed in my hotel room. And I decided to write an email to Rhythmia. And I wrote an email, and I told them everything about me. I said, "Look, I am a veteran who wishes that would have died in Iraq. I'm someone that I don't know if I can breathe right now, right?" And the very next day, they sent me an email and said, "You got the scholarship."
Man. How did that
Okay.
feel? How did that feel when you read that email? Talk to me about that. Well, actually, can I take us back a step? Can I take us back a
Yeah,
step?
you can take us back. You can.
What did you know about ayahuasca arrhythmia at the time? Like, so you had a flyer, but have you researched it? Like, what is your understanding of what's going to take place there at this time?
Nothing.
Okay.
So I had this innate pull. I remember I didn't know anything about ayahuasca. It's almost like my spirit was so desperate at the moment, because I just
That's right.
finished losing my job and I was pulling in so much negative energy.
Mm,
And I don't know what would have happened if I never ended up going to this place. But I know that my mom had to take me to, like, she's like, "Oh, come on, let's do this trip together," because she noticed I needed
wow.
something there, right? And when I saw that flyer, it was just an instant, "Oh, I'm gonna go there. I just feel like I'm gonna go
Called
there."
to it.
Yes, it was more of a calling to it. I had no idea what ayahuasca was. My mom was trying to explain to me a little bit about it because she knows, and she's never done it either. Well, she did it after me now. And then, I got the scholarship. All I had to do was pay for the flight. And when I got that letter,
Yeah, yeah. I want to know when you look at that email and they're like, "Hey, you're accepted." Like, talk to me. Like, what are you feeling right now?
well, I called my mother and I said, I got the scholarship. She's like, what? She's like, do you understand how many people apply to go to Rhythmia and don't get it? I mean,
That's right.
so she
It was
made me
man. It
see
was.
how special this was, and she's like, this is a calling. You're supposed to be there.
So when you so correct it's again anywhere I'm wrong, you dive in. So when you got this email, you didn't even realize how magical, how special, how much of a divine intervention was taking place. You didn't even realize your mother had to create the awareness for you. Is that
She created the awareness, and I was just like, in my mind, I was like, this is the last straw. Like
mm-hmm.
I was spent.
I can only imagine.
I felt the like I just lost something that I love. I'm not a police
Mm.
anymore. My identity was shot. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know who the hell I was anymore. And then so when this opportunity came, I honestly at that time I probably would have done anything because
Yeah,
I'm a fighter. I always been. Even if I'm not doing it for myself, I'm doing it for the guy next to me. That's
that's
100%.
right.
So I took it and I was like, okay, whatever I need to do, I'm gonna do. You know.
So take me on the journey. And real quick, for those of you listening in, check us out. You can check us out on YouTube, Success After Trauma. You can watch the video of this. But for those of you listening, ayahuasca is a plant-based medicine. I am not the I'm not the authority to talk about it. So I haven't participated in ayahuasca yet. However, I will in the future. I don't know when that will be, but I am certain that I'm called to that experience when that organically is supposed to happen in my life. Ayahuasca is a plant-based medicine. Again, if you've never heard, if you know what it is, you already know what we're talking about. If you're hearing this weird word for the first time, do your own research on it. I am a firm believer on all forms of plant-based medicine
Mhm.
when it comes to dealing with PTSD and trauma. So that would be things like marijuana, psilocybin, ayahuasca. I'm an advocate of all these as a form of medicinal use outside of the Tic Tacs that the VA feed you, and I'm talking
Yeah.
about pills. Okay, so now can you take us through the experience, like from like hop on the flight, like you land over there, like what's going on? Like take us through that a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah. So before I start, I just want to say that I feel plant medicine, you have to be cold for it. And it's not for everyone. And I know a lot of people look for experiences as a recreational thing. I really believe that ayahuasca is powerful. You need to be called for it, and you need to be able to do it in a safe and legal environment. Arrhythmia was all that for me, and because I know there's places, and I'm just saying that people, has to be called for it, and you gotta, if you're gonna participate in something like that, you need to do your own research and do your due diligence to do it safely.
Th- Haas, real quick. Thank you so much for saying that. Thank you so much for saying that. I didn't touch on it for anyone. If you're researching, you decide that that's something for you, you, please don't. Don't meet someone in a cornfield somewhere and think that it's a good idea. Please do not.
Yeah.
These are resorts. These are doctors that are out doing it. So again, legal, safe place. And I love that you talked about being called to it.
Yes.
If you're looking, if you find that this might be something, you'll know if you're called to it. Okay, David, take us back
Yes.
in, Haas. Take us back
Yeah.
in.
So it was February, I believe it was February, I want to say 1st or 2nd, where I'm going to Costa Rica. And I kept meeting people along the way. So I met this lady on the airplane, that I don't know if she felt my energy, but she happens to have like a marriage podcast, or she's like she has a channel. It's called Uncommon Marriage, and what she does is she helps couples through things, right? And she's sitting next to me. This is the flight to Costa Rica, And she's just like, she just starts giving me advice, and I open up, and she opens up with me, and I talk about my struggles and how I'm trying to fight for my relationship, and it was just powerful.
Wow.
And this is all on the way to Rhythmia, and I'm kind of like laughing, like, oh man, like the universe is
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
really putting itself in my way, and really showing me. But the flight was, I was excited. I wasn't afraid. I was excited for this new journey. I was I was so let me just take some step backs. In order for to do ayahuasca, the instructions were for me, I needed to be off of all psych meds for at least 6 months. So it was 6 months. It was, I think I got the scholarship in October.
Wow.
At that time I wasn't in like psych meds like crazy or whatever, so I was able. So they have like a list. You got to be off of psych meds for like 6 months, and you have to follow a dieta, where they call it a dieta, so a diet, at least a month out. No alcohol, no sex, no cigarettes, no
Wow.
so it's kind of like a plant-based meal, so you kind of going into this experience clean.
Your body's primed for it. Yeah, it
Your
makes
body's
sense.
primed for it and stuff like that. So anyways, back to the airplane. I get to Costa Rica, is an amazing resort. It's called Rhythmia Life Advancement Center. They came, they picked me up, they
Mm.
provided everything, because I think it's on the luxury side of things. So I am here grateful that I having this opportunity, and I didn't have to pay for it. Besides
Yeah.
the flight, I didn't have to pay for it, right? Um, and not going into it, what they do is they expose you to meditation. They talk about the mind, the spirit. They empower you of who you are. They start that immediately. Hi, there's smiles, people hugging you. Hey, I love you. And I didn't get a cult vibe. I know some people say, "Oh, did you get the cult vibe?" No, no, it was just it felt genuine to me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So just to speed up, so we had four days of ceremony. And it was the first 3 days, it would start at five in the afternoon, and it would end maybe like at 1 in the morning. 1 in the morning. And that was for three nights. And then on the last night, it starts at 8 or 10 o'clock at night, I believe, and it's like till 10 o'clock the next day. Okay, so
Is that the deep dive, I'm guessing, on that
yes,
last day?
yes.
Okay. Okay.
And you have the shamans, they come and they do, because there's a proper way to do it.
Yeah.
um but so let's get into it. Let's talk about some of these
Please.
experiences, right?
Yeah.
So
Please.
so the first night I did ayahuasca. um th- it's like plant medicine let me sit in my own insanity. I wanted to run. I
Mm.
literally got up, I started to panic, and what happened was I went outside, because you're allowed to go. You have, there's people watching, but you guys to go outside, and I kept feeling like something was trying to catch up with me, and I kept
Mm.
running away, and I was walking the entire earth. I was literally walking the entire earth, and there was a moment that I felt like, oh my God, I'm gonna give my soul away. I need to get the hell out of this place, and I wanted to run away. And my first night was like that. I didn't get
Wow.
no. It wasn't positive. It was negative,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it kept doing that, and it kept doing that, right? Um, and that was like the whole night, me running away, right? Then the next day, it like tells me why. It says the plant medicine let me know that it let me sit in my own insanity. And then it kind of showed me in pictures that, well, I've run away from all my problems. What was trying to catch up with me is what I need to deal with. And it was following me around.
Wow.
And I just kept walking the entire earth, because this is why I never confront. I like, it showed me in pictures and video, and like like it would show me like different clips of me. Everything, something kept close. Like
Yeah.
if something that really got me sad, or something that really that was gonna hurt, I would just be like, oh, distraction. Let's go. I need to
Right.
do something else. I need to go have a drink. Oh my God, let's go. And it let me sit. Plant medicine, I call her Mother Aya. Mother Aya let me sit in my own insanity, and she let me know it. She let me sit in my own insanity, right? So the second day, it was just love. It was
Wow.
love. It was the total opposite from the first one. And it was a feeling of connectedness, right? And it was a feeling of, I remember sitting there, kind of, you're like in this, it's not, I don't want to say temple because it makes it sound crazy, but it was like this area where there was a lot of people there and everybody has like their own mattress and stuff like that. And you ayahuasca purges you, right? So you throw up and then you have to go to the bathroom and stuff like that. And I remember like I would throw up and then I would look in the bucket and I would, and Mother Aya would say resentment, fear,
Mm.
guilt.
Mm.
And every time that I was purging, it was like I felt lighter. At the end of
Mm.
that second ceremony, I was in this frequency of love. There was this connectedness to the earth, though. And I remember looking at this tree, and I felt like we were connected. It was like a vibrational thing. Um, and I kind of felt kind of embraced. It's almost like the second night, Mother Aya, or that experience was just kind of like holding me.
Wow.
And it didn't let me, we didn't go into no therapy yet. I call it therapy or consult us. It was just kind of like
Just
she let me
there.
sit in my insanity and then hold me and then just kind of preparing me for the rest of the week.
Wow.
And it
Yeah.
was amazing. And then every time, and even though those experiences were late, the next morning I just felt such an amazing feeling. Like I was just like ready. I went and they gave only plant medicine, I mean plant-based food. So I was healthy. I felt more connected. My meditation sessions were deeper and deeper. And I kind of felt like alive, every
Yeah.
day I felt alive. The third night was when it was more intense. More intense. I had a consulta. Consulta is when you have a being talking to you, right? And I did the way that I describe it is you if you ever have you ever seen Moana?
I have.
The mountains
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Fafiti. So
Yep.
it was like my version of that talking to me. And then I would ask her questions. She was just like, she would just be laughing. I remember she was laughing. I'm like, oh, why the F are you laughing about? And she was just laughing, like, what's so funny? And when are you, and I would be like, what about PTSD? I said, what about PTSD? And I remember all she kept saying is a thought is a thought is a thought is a thought that you make your reality. And then she goes,
Man.
a thought is a thought. She goes, a thought is a thought that connects to each other. You end up having this physical reaction to, and
Mhm.
then it manifests into your reality.
Yeah.
And she just kept saying, but she didn't say it right away. She was just like, a thought is a thought is a thought is a thought. And I'm like, a thought is a thought. What do you mean? A
Yeah,
thought is a
give me
thought.
the
What she's saying is that we have the power to create any reality we want with our thoughts. So she go like, if I think that I'm my unworthiness and my shame, and and the thought fills another thought, and it just starts building, and then it becomes this energy, that the thought becomes so powerful, becomes this energy that you start having physical manifestations and sweating and palpitations, and your pupils react. And now you just created that reality, and that reality is what you're going to live, right?
Man, that's powerful.
And then but the thing was, she didn't spend a lot of time with me with PTSD. She did it because the root of the problem was not that. She brought me back to my childhood, baby.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she brought me back to my childhood, and let me see that the way that I wanted love. It was strange because she showed me, how they say when you die, you kind of see a reel of your life.
Yeah.
Well, I did that. But the way that she was showing me is that I thought that in order to receive love, there needed to be action. And she showed me from little, and I remember seeing it, and I didn't get it right away, but But every time I had an interaction with my mom since little, I'd be like, oh, mom, look what I did. Oh, look what I'm doing. Oh, I did this in school. Oh, I did. And the reason I would do that with people is I wanted to show, oh, look, I'm being a good boy.
Yeah.
Because if I showed action,
Like I'm
then love
worthy
I
of
would
love.
then love I
Yeah.
would receive, that I'm worthy to receive love. I
Wow.
didn't understand that I'm loved automatically for
That's
who
right.
I am,
That's right.
right? So the connection of the military was came about that because I came out empty. I didn't have nothing else to give. I felt like everything was taken from me,
Mm.
right? I didn't. My mind was fractured, and I felt like there was nothing good to give, so I wasn't receiving anything, though, because to me, an action equals love. And then it showed me how that behavior, I saw it through how I interact with my wife and how to interact with my kids. I'm gonna buy
Mm.
you this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, because love, 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 love. So
Wow.
when if I didn't get, so then also how I perceived love from people was through action as well.
That's right. Yeah.
So if one day we're together, we're friends, and say, you say like, say you make me a cup of coffee every day since I was little, and that how I perceive love, and then one day you don't make that cup of coffee, I'm destroyed,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, well, what I do wrong? The guy, so ayahuasca showed me that the way that I was, so that's why the second night was about love, because it showed me that I am giving you love that you already deserve, that you have. And so every night kind of interweaves with itself. It was like a session among a session, and it was like a trip that came all
Hey,
into culmination.
ayahuasca was saying, hey, I'm gonna love you. There's nothing you need to do for it, and there's nothing you can do about it. So take this love.
Pretty much. And I remember being touched under the doing ayahuasca, and then it was just be subtle. You're worthy. You're worthy of love. Just a little, just sporadically. You're worthy of love, and it was felt like it was just giving me things. It's like things that I thought, like it was putting things back in my soul, right? Um, so then I was able to see how I grew up in this way, and with love and with other things, and how it changed my behavior, and how my behavior, because of that those experiences, manifested into the reality that I'm making now, right? And that was one. So then I was kind of like, okay, so we didn't talk about PTSD. What I thought, my expectations were not it. I didn't know, Mother Ayahuasca wanted a deep dive, right? So then there comes another scene. And now I don't know if this was the last night, the third night, because it's just all kind of blended in. But I'm in a field, and I see this 5-year-old boy. The 5-year-old boy is me. And it's a younger version of me, right? And he's playing. He's playing like with this I used to have this orange little dog when I was little, and he was playing there. He's being a kid, and pure, pure. It's like a symbol of love. And I'm like trying to call to him, hey, come, whatever. And he's like, no, no. He goes like, oh, I don't know you. He goes, you hurt me too much. He said, you're gonna lie to me again. And I was just kind of like, what the hell? Why don't you want to come to me? So the way that so what happened is that is me, right? This other version, in my inside, my soul, my authentic self is
Yes.
telling me, hey man, I don't trust you anymore.
Wow.
You're not listening to me. You're lying to me.
Wow.
And I was able to see that separation. But Mother Ayahuasca said to me, she says, you don't longer need that. So when you are born and you are the truest version of yourself, along the way, things happen, and you feel like you have to separate in order to protect your authentic self.
Wow.
So you separate yourself. So imagine this. You're a 5-year-old kid, all you know is pure love, and then you get hit. Someone hits you, something emotional happens. Now you learn from that experience and you separate in order for that not to happen again. So this version of you is going to do everything that it can to do to protect your authentic self.
Yeah.
So you learn to lie, you learn to do whatever it takes because you don't want to feel like that anymore. So essentially what Mother Ayahuasca was showing me is that I don't need that version that I have created to protect myself anymore. And this is really you right here, right?
Wow.
And it was just powerful. And what happened was at the end of this experience was my soul, I ended up merging back, right? Merging back, and it was an intense feeling of of grace, of power, divine. So the way that I felt is that I felt like every human, all of us, that we are powerful, powerful beings, and we have everything that we will ever need inside of us.
Ooh,
Everything
I
that we'll
love
ever
that.
need is already inside of
I
us.
love that.
The problem is that we have forgotten. And in this journey, well, this is what I learned. Is that I needed to remember who I was. The stories and the things that happened to us in our past does not make us, right? It does not make us. It does not make who we are. What it does is it helps us remember the power within us. What happened to me is when I got back from ayahuasca, I mean from Costa Rica, the thought of ending my life, just the feeling was different. And I remember feeling a light, right? I remember feeling, I just felt more in love with who I am, right? I knew that the story that I went through and the things that I went through do not make me. I learned to be gracious for what I went through because I've learned and I am the person that I am now. And I am empowered by it. And it's not easy. And it wasn't easy. But it's okay because we are human, we're beings. I call it we are divine beings having a human experience.
I
And
love that.
that's
I love that.
that's what we are.
Because our
We're
human experience will end, but our divine being will continue on.
Yeah, it's a shame that sometimes we can be blocked out of that light, you
Yeah.
know. and,
Yeah.
and the problem is, I think, is that sometimes, we go through so much and we get and we get like beat down and we don't have nobody there, I think, to kind of help us see how powerful we are. That's why my passion now is to talk to veterans, to talk to anybody. This is why I'm doing the podcast and saying anybody that feels like they're in the dark room and they're fighting their demons, and there's entities telling you that you're not worth it, that you shouldn't even be alive and stuff. I want to tell you that that is a lie. And I know it's easier said, right? Even me saying it right now, when I say, oh, that it's a lie, I picture myself back there saying like, oh, it's easy that you're saying that. It's easy, but you don't know what I'm going through. I do know. And I want to tell you that you are worth it, that you are worth it. You're worthy of love, and you have already won. And all you have to remember is that you are an amazing individual, and all you need is kind of purpose. And your purpose is that you're going to help many, many people, you know?
Wow.
But
Dude, thank you. Thank you for saying that. First of all, I know you're talking to me, and I know you're talking to everyone else. And thank you so much for saying that. That's. Let me ask you this. So I know that when did you come back from Rhythmia?
I came back on February 8th, 2020, right before the
20.
pandemic.
Okay. Because I know that. So I got to see Haas before
Yeah.
that experience, and then after. and no questions asked. We have yet to talk about it in this death up until today, but no questions asked, just a different being. No or same different, just total different outlook, total different mindset. What do you do? It's been 2 years, man, and that's a testament to,
Yeah.
it wasn't something that, it wasn't the warm shower that wore off. You're still doing it. You're still eating it, sleeping it, living
Yeah.
it, breathing it. What do you do when you have a hard day? Oh, go ahead. Sure.
Um, so it was, I want to say that it's not a cure, right? I had that experience in the experience breathed life that I already had in me, but it's not a cure because I still have to do things
Man, I'm so
and
glad you're
work on
saying
it,
this.
right? I still go to war with my mind and with myself every single day.
I'm so glad you said that.
Okay, every single day I am fighting for myself because that little guy on your shoulder is just waiting for you. It's waiting for you, and it's gonna tell you as soon as you slip up, you see, look at you. You should just quit, yo. You should just quit.
What's different? Tell me a little bit about um, that battle before and that battle now. So you said it, like it's not a cure. Like this stuff exists. Okay, what's different in with the internal dialogue now? And not just the dialogue, but what's different with the internal feeling that you have now when you have those battles with yourself, or when you have those rougher days, or when you have the challenging times.
So the difference is now that I know, and I have a better sense of who I am, and I do things I know the power of myself. And what I mean is this. So there's days where I wake up depressed still. There's days that I wake up and I doubt myself. Um, there's days that I wake up and I'm just kind of like, what's going on? Like I don't even want to talk to anybody right now. Right. So the difference that what I do now is that one, I take time to love myself and I hold on to the one thing that I can be consistent of, right? Because the battle's always going to be there.
What's that one? I got it. What's that one thing?
One, it can be it can be anything. So what I
Okay.
do, I say I go to war myself because as soon as I'm feeling like that, even if I don't want to go to bed, I do one thing that is consistent, whether that is read a self-help book or meditate or take a walk. I have to do something, one thing that it's a benefit. And,
Love
and
it.
and just I just do that one thing. And if I want to go back to whatever to bed or whatever, then I go back to bed. But I was consistent with that one thing. And what that does is actually that it prevents me from staying in that state of mind.
That's
Right.
right.
Because yeah, it's okay. I'm gonna feel that way. But the difference between now and then is that before it was a snowball effect of self-destruction that would start.
That's
It was
incredible.
just feeding that wolf, that bad wolf, right? But what happens is when I stay consistent with one thing, is that one thing is like, okay, oh, I feel better. And it kind of opens the door for the next thing. And then the next thing, and then the next thing. And then before you know it, you feel better. Okay. You feel better. And you're like, oh, what was I thinking? You know what? I'm not quitting. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's
I
keep
love
going.
that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because and then you when you start like going coming from ayahuasca, feeling what I felt, and then I was out looking for light. Now that's the difference. I was looking for light, so I was looking for books. I was looking for what I'm going to do. I was eager to learn more about the mind, about personal development. So this became ammo for me. So now I have the resources to be able like I know how strong I am now. So
I
I don't
love it.
stay in those spots. They do happen and they come, but I have the tools to get out of it now. Because either I can call Greg, or I can get in the book, and the book tells me you need to be relentless. Okay, you need to have faith, you need to have desire, you need to get up and do it because you deserve it, because you are master creators and you can create your own reality. A thought becomes a thought that becomes a thought because of thought. Now the opposite is true. If my thoughts are positive, the next thought's positive, the next thought's positive, my reality and my perception is going to change.
That's right. That's
Right?
right.
two
That's right.
people two people that, like, I could have a guy next to me that his thoughts are negative and negative, and me, and we could be looking at the same thing, and our perception of reality is going to be different.
It's totally different.
And I'm going to see things into my world, into my mind, that are positives, opportunity, things for me to grow. And he's going to see things that are like, that are negative and destruction, and I hate myself and stuff. But we're looking at the same thing.
Same
And
exact thing.
that's the only difference, is that I understand who I am as a person, my authentic self. I understand that every human, every person out there is powerful. We all have a mission, not a mission. We all have a purpose, and we are living that purpose. The story does not make us. The
I love that.
story is just reminding us of who we were to begin with. You get me? Yes, I saw some crazy things. Yes, I've lost people, and I cherish, and I don't, throw that story away. That story is a big part of me.
That's right.
That story is a big part of me. But because of that story, I am able to want to add value to people's lives with a passion. Because of that story and the things that I've been through, where I wanted to end my life, but where I see the lens of my world is different. My heart is more not vulnerable, but my heart is more open to help someone who's struggling with substance abuse. You know why? Because I've been there. Or someone who is struggling with PTSD and can't see a light out. I can help you because I've been there, and I can just hold your hand and be there for you. I
That's
can't
incredible.
I can't say a magic word, but I can be there and hold you, and let you know that it's gonna end. Like seasons, it's gonna end. And let me tell you, when you wait for that season to end, you're gonna be so much fucking stronger. So much
Step in your
stronger.
power. No, hit it, man. It's
You
in
know
your
what I mean?
power. Yeah.
You're gonna be so much stronger. And then you're gonna realize your purpose. And when you realize your purpose, because the purpose has nothing to do with material things.
No.
The key of life is just being there for one another and elevating each other and elevating yourself. That's the
Man.
joy of life, man. When you find something in life that changes other people's lives, right? That's all you need. I don't
That's
need to
it.
make any money in
That's
the world,
it.
but if I have something in my hand, in my possession, that elevates you and takes you out of your situation, what's better? And that's when you'll see the full circle, brother.
Purpose and passion, man. It gives you purpose and allows you to feed that passion. If you're listening in, you have those days, those struggles, those times. I'm challenging you right now. If you don't have your one thing, pick your one thing. You have the power of choice. You have free will. You get to decide what it is. Pick what your one thing is. What's that one thing you're going to commit to do that's going to help you be better, that's going to make you feel better, that's going to pull you out? You have to select it. If you say that's not going to work, you're right. Pick your one thing, make it work. And are you willing to love yourself? Are you willing to realize that you are worthy of love and there's nothing you can do for love and that you're already loved? For everyone listening here today, I love you. You are worthy of love. Hosnick, if people want to reach out to you, there's maybe they connect it with your story. Maybe they want to share something with you. Maybe they want advice from you. What's the best place for people to reach out to you if they wanted to?
They can reach out through Facebook,
Awesome.
just on Hosnick Martinez.
Awesome.
You can send me a direct message and we can connect. I'm willing to do a Zoom calls with you, 15-minute Zoom calls, whatever you need. Just reach out, and I'm here for you. This is what it's all about, and we're here for each other.
That's incredible. I appreciate everything you shared today, and I know that your story has changed someone's life. I appreciate everything that you said and the depths that you went to and what you shared. Is there any Do you have last? If someone was, you shared a lot, and I appreciate it. I'm gonna put you in that hot seat one more time, if that's okay. I
Okay.
love asking this question before we get out of here. If someone was in front of you right now and they didn't believe, what would you say to them? What would be these last words that you would say to them if they didn't believe what was possible? If they didn't believe they were worthy of love, what would be the words that you would share with them?
I would say, the words that come into my mind is that you have already won,
That's
that
it.
you have already won.
You've already won. I love it. You made it this far. You've made it through everything. You have succeeded. And when I say succeeded, if you're listening to me, if you can hear me, if you heard Ha's story, you've made it through everything up till now. You already won. Thank you, Haz. If you check us out, make sure you download us so you can listen to the whole episode on while you're driving around. We're streaming on all the major podcast platforms. And if you're just listening in, check us out on YouTube. The channel is Success After Trauma. Like and subscribe to the channel so you can get notified when new episodes coming in. And if you have a story to share, or you know someone that has a story to share, will you please connect us? It's greg@gregpihs.com. I want to share your story on this platform because your story is going to empower someone and it's going to change someone's lives. Because remember, no matter where you're at on your journey, someone is one chapter behind you and they want the answers you have. Thank you again, Hosnick, for being on. Be great. It's already in you.